This is Bumper to Bumper, the car show. Drive in anxious and cruise out confident. With the best automotive information for your vehicle. And now your hosts, Matt Allen and Dave Riccio.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen, along here with Dave Riccio. And as always, we're here every single Saturday from 11 to noon to help you with your car. So if you've got car questions or car problems, I'm pretty sure Dave and I can come up with an answer. So if you want to get involved with the show, give us a call at 602-277-5827. It's 602-277-KTAR. And today on the Bumper to Bumper Roadmap, I don't know. We might talk. Dave, I think you've got a topic. You were a little bit hot under the collar this morning. We were trying to plan a show, and I said, Dave, we can't plan raw emotion. Let's just go for it today. What, you got something bugging you or what?
You know what's bugging me is when I it's inspections from auto shops, and when they're checking out cars and they're looking the car over and they're selling you what they repair, but not necessarily what you need. It's kind of like this. You go into the shop and they'll sell you motor mounts. But in the meantime, they will sell you motor mounts and they're sitting there and the oil is leaking on the top of their head while they're replacing those motor mounts. And it's like, what about the oil leak? Do you think the customer cares about the oil leak? Why are you selling a motor mounts? Well, that's an easy sell and I get it done this afternoon and on the way. Well, if the customer knew they had a massive head wound, do you think they would want to do something about it? Probably. But sometimes people inspect cars, and I'm using hyperbole there. They inspect cars, and they're not really looking at everything on the car. They're selling what fits their schedule or what they think fits your wallet for that day. You know, they know there's kind of a threshold of pain in auto repair, and I think that some shops know, well, $200 to $300, customer's not really going to want to call around or check pricing or anything like that, but, $200.
Well, it's not even so much that you have to check the price. Car repair, $300 is easy to stomach, right?
It is easy to stomach. I can get it. Yeah, right. I can take that.
Well, I noticed that too, Dave. At the Better Business Bureau. That was a couple weeks ago. We're there as part of the Automotive Repair Advisory Committee. And so we see these cases and complaints and stuff that come through. And what those packages are, they're the consumer side of the story, maybe the shop side of the story, a rebuttal from each. The package will typically include some back-end paperwork from the shop, the customer's receipt and such. And what I kept noticing a pattern from some of the, let's call it a tire store, not a tire-only store, but a tire store that does general repairs and such, local chains. They're all, similar all over the country. They're like this. And so what I noticed is on their inspection sheet, in contrast to, say, for example, the one we use at my shop, I've got left turn signal, right turn signal, brake lights, tail lights, third brake light. We have detail. There's a gazillion things on there. Well, what I noticed in this one is it had like 6 or 7 things. Fuel filter, brakes, shocks or struts, tires, 2 or 3 fluids listed, and belts and hoses. What are those 6 or 7 things, Dave?
That's what they work on. That's all they do.
That's the easiest stuff.
The gravy train.
Gravy. And I asked myself, so what they have typically, maybe some kid, and occasionally we have a younger, lesser experienced technician doing some services or minor stuff, but fuel filter, how do you know the fuel filter is bad? Unless I know when your fuel filter was replaced last time. I don't. It's hard to tell. I put a new fuel filter in your car after we've had these rains and stuff, and you've driven through some dirt, and you've got some sand under there and some weather. That fuel filter looks today like the one looks that's 2 years old. That's only 2 weeks old. So we can't go off of that. Brakes, yeah, of course, that's a visual inspection. Belts and hoses, same thing. But my point is it's just the easiest stuff to do, and it's quick to muddle through there. So I think, again, Dave, you have the example of the contractor putting a window in your house. Everybody wants to be the low bid, but I think the question that people have to ask a lot when they're being told something's wrong with their car is, what else? Not is this the cheapest, or is this a guess, or is this a fix, or something like that. What else is wrong with my car?
Well, in my example, the oil pouring out of the engine on the guy's head while he's changing out the engine mounts, that right there, Well, if you were fixing the oil leak, you would have to remove the mounts to do that anyway. So why wouldn't we go for the oil leak? What happened to be a North Star motor, which is a lot of shops will not touch oil leaks on that car.
Right.
They just won't do it. So really the right thing to do in that case would have been to refer them out to somebody who would do that repair and then get the motor mounts at the same time. And they would have saved a lot of money. So how does this benefit you, the consumer, to know this information? And it really is, every time you go to the auto shop, it's what else is wrong with my car? I want to know everything and not just the free courtesy. Some people call it a cursory inspection. And sometimes a cursory inspection is just fine. I just want a quick once over, look at my car real quick, make sure nothing's dragging on the ground, something like that. That is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But every now and then, we need the car looked over from bumper to bumper,
Hey, how about that? We did a bumper to
wow,
bumper.
look at that. So that's going to be important so you know what all's wrong with your car, and we're not spending money on one thing when that's probably number 4 on your list as far as priorities. I've seen some people go fix number 4, and the guy selling it to you that's 100% commission, as one of the local chains does, he's 100% commission, and so he's selling you that air filter like it is the most important thing for your car right now, and you can't go anywhere without it, but really you got something else that really needs addressing that they don't work on.
Well, in my example, we have a listener who brought her car to the shop the other day, and we're doing a full inspection of this car. The car was transferred from she to her mother, and the car had been to a local place for a lot of its life. And as we were going through some of the history and discussing things, and then we did our thorough inspection. I mean, everything in the car was inspected. Once we did that, I started to notice things as I'm going over this review with my technicians. Then I see the rear shocks in the car were replaced, but the front struts weren't. And we're talking about a car with 115 or 120,000 miles or something like that. So the rear shocks had been replaced. I'm thinking, gosh, that's weird. Why would they do only the rear shocks but not the front struts? Well, because you can throw rear shocks on for $300.
Right.
That's a piece of cake, and almost anybody, any level of technician can do that. Some of the other things I noticed, it had a brand new or relatively new serpentine belt within the last handful of months. Well, when that belt was put on, the timing belt was 20,000 miles past due to be serviced. But you know what? It's easy to take $100 for a belt. It's difficult to take, and I say take. Don't twist. Don't take my words out of what I'm trying to say here, but it's not hard. It's not easy to take $1,200 or to let somebody understand that they need a $1,200 repair in their car. But it's certainly easy to do it for $100 at a time.
And sometimes it is a matter of the comfort level of the guy that you're talking to, the service writer. You know what? I don't like calling people and telling them they got to spend a bunch of money on their car because it's pretty much the last thing anybody wants to do. Some people would rather have a set of wheels and tires on the car than a new transmission. You don't want to buy a transmission. It's like selling a coffin, No one wants one, but everyone gets one at some point. You don't want to have to be doing it. So I get the anxiety behind it because there's anxiety in both ends. I don't want to have to go to the auto repair shop to get my car fixed. And for an inexperienced service writer at the other end, he's like, do I really have to call them and tell them they need all this stuff? I'll just tell them the easy stuff that they need.
It's less pain.
It's less pain. It's more comfortable. So it's not always like a greed factor. I think sometimes it's just a matter of, I want everyone to like me. I don't want to call them up and tell them what they really need.
It's like I got to step on the scale every morning, and a lot of times I just really don't like it. But you need to know. We need to know sometimes. So maybe you have an auto repair nightmare. You've got that list, or you've got some questions about some of the work you need on your car. Give us a call. Get involved with the show. This show is here for you every Saturday. So just 602-277-5827. If you want to text, you can do that at 411-923. And we're taking your calls and let us help you today.
Do you love your hybrid? Yep, we did too. Hi, my name is Brian. We bought our Prius to help with my wife's long commute back and forth to work. We love the get up and go and the fuel economy. But 8 years later, our MPG was eroding and the zip was gone. We tried everything from tune-ups to new tires. The dealership's answer was that's just the way it goes with hybrids, and that we were probably looking at a new battery at the cost of $4,000 to $6,000. Sound familiar? We were lost. Then we found the hybrid shop at Goodworks Auto Repair. They were able to condition our battery to like new for a fraction of the cost. The Zip and the 40 Plus MPG is back. We're in love again with our Prius and the hybrid shop at Goodworks Auto Repair.
Thanks for the kind words, Brian. Hi, Glenn Hayward for the Hybrid Shop at Goodworks Auto Repair. Fall in love again with your hybrid. For details, go to goodworksautorepair.com.
It's really coming down now, and that little voice is saying shoulda, coulda, woulda. You meant to call Kaiko Roofing last storm, but you didn't, did you? Now it's raining cats and dogs, and Mr. Shoulda, coulda, woulda is watching a puddle form on the ceiling. If the roof on your home or business is over 10 years old, get rid of shoulda, coulda, woulda. Call Kaiko Roofing at 602-944-4600 for a free checkup today. At Kaiko, we install peace of mind with the finest materials and the most skilled workers, all backed by the owner's pride guarantee. Flat, foam, tile, or shingle, Kaiko handles them all. From a small leak to a complete new roof, Kaiko has you covered. Since 1994, Kaiko has repaired or replaced tens of thousands of valley roofs. Over 50% of our business coming from referrals or repeat customers. In fact, over 98% of our customers say they would refer us to a friend. For more information and financing options, go to KaikoRoofing.com. Kaiko Roofing. We're crazy about quality.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are here helping you with your car.
We got to get mad like the music, Dave. Come on.
I know. You never know what Bree's going to throw on. You know, she looks so sweet and innocent, and then she plays that, and I'm thinking...
She's in there thrashing her head against the glass. You know?
You're right. So we're talking about auto repair and inspections. You take your car into the shop, and the guy always comes up, and he has maybe a part or two in his hand. He wants to show you the $200 you need to spend on your car. But we want to insist that you say, what else is wrong with my car? And then the other thing that happens is that, I just had it in the shop and they checked everything over. How could they have missed that? That's not. Did they do a systematic checkout of everything? So people say they checked everything over. Well, what did they check? Did they pull out spark plugs and look at the gap to see how worn they were? Did they look at fuel pressures? What is everything? And I get, we did the basic. We inspected some of the easy stuff to see, and that's normal a lot of times, but that's not everything. So once a year, you need to get everything checked.
How long does that inspection take, Dave? Any idea?
The everything inspection, easily an hour.
Yeah.
Easily an hour, maybe not going as far as hooking up the fuel pressure gauge.
Well, yeah, there's on a normal maintenance inspection, if you will, there's no reason to, now we're starting to dip into diagnostics, which we don't want you to confuse having diagnostic work done or testing with inspections. Inspections aren't meant to find problems to repair that you're having. Like, I have this actual check engine light. That's not an inspection. That's diagnosis. An inspection is like your general health and welfare check and your annual health check. That's what we're talking about.
Right, but if you go to the doctor with chest pains, we're going to go down a different road. You know, we're going to...
Sure.
We may throw you in that tube where that thing makes a lot of noise and tells you what's wrong and what's on the inside.
We're doing that's more of the diagnostic or the testing route. But you know what, Dave? Ultimately, this boils down to what we always talk about every weekend or every time or every day at the counter with the customer. It's the relationship. You don't have to worry about these problems if you have a relationship with the shop or with the technician at the shop that you go to. And those shops are easy to find, partially bumpertobumperradio.com. You've got just a list of great shops and good people that know how to take care of people. And that's the other important part about the relationship. We're not just fixing your car. When you have a problem, we're helping you solve your problems too. It's a little bit deeper than just car repair.
Well, we've got Marcy in Lewis and open lines at 602-277-5827. One quick announcement I wanted to make to those of you who are listening who are in our industry, and it's ASA, Automotive Service Association. ASA is getting busy with training, and we're putting on training every month. You're going to have a salesman named Gary show up at your shop and say, hey, are you an ASA member? Why aren't you an ASA member? You need to be an ASA member. You got to support your marketplace, support your association. We want training. A little later on the show, we're going to talk about a little bit of lack of training with auto repair. But we're going to get to Marcy. She's got a 2005 Ford Focus. How can we help you today?
Well, we've had a recurring problem, and the garage that I've taken it to has not seemed to have been able to figure out what it is. This is my daughter's car, and she's had it for several years, and we've been. It started off with an intermittent lights coming on, battery light, engine light, just intermittently coming on and off, going away. Whenever that would happen, we would take it to AutoZone. They would check it. They would say the battery, the alternator, everything was fine. Couldn't find anything. Here, just real recently, it started occurring more often. I took it into a garage here, and they told me it was a bad alternator. I didn't think that was the case. They changed the alternator. It was quite expensive. The problem came back immediately. And since then, my daughter has been stranded several times. The thing just will randomly not start. And they're telling me that that it was possibly the security system. It did have both a factory security system and a aftermarket. The last time it was into this garage, which was last week, I had them take out the aftermarket security system.
That was a good idea. Okay.
Yeah. So that has been taken, and now today she got the thing. She went to start it, and it would not start.
Well, I guess I have a lot of questions. When it doesn't start, is the battery actually dead right then and there? Or how is it that you get that car to start this morning? What are you going to do to make it start? Or what will happen to get the car started?
Well, she calls roadside assistance. They jump it. The thing starts right away, and we typically drive it to the garage, and they try again, which is where the car is at right now.
What part of town are you in?
I'm in Gilbert.
Okay. Wow, Dave,
There was a lot there.
There's a lot
Check
of
engine,
information.
flashing lights, alternator lights, sounds like battery lights. A lot there.
Well, it doesn't seem to me that an alternator. The symptoms are a little bit odd here because an alarm system wouldn't affect the alternator. So there's something. You probably had a bad alternator, I'm guessing. But then the problem came right back. An alternator is going to make the car not start, but only if the battery's dead. So one of the people here from the station had their car into the shop the other day. They called me last Sunday, man, I need to get the car in. It just clicks when I try to start it. It took a jump start okay, went to the Auto Shack or the O'Reilly, and they said everything is fine. The alternator's good. The battery that they sold me a year ago is good. No problems. So I said, no problem. Get it. Bring it down. And I go, look, I just popped the hood, and I go to just grab the battery cables to see if they're tight, and I can move the whole battery cable. They had an adapter on there because the cable end had stretched a little bit, so they have an adapter that goes over the cap to make it fit tighter. Well, there's the first problem. The battery cables are all dirty. There's the second problem. And the primary problem, we do a test on the battery, and the battery's got a bad cell. How did they not? Now, that can happen intermittently, so we can't just stand here and beat up on the kid at the parts store. I mean, he can push the buttons on the machine as good as I can, I guess. But
I don't trust those machines. I have two of them at my shop, and I run them both side by side on a battery just to see. Sometimes on one tester it says battery's good. On the next tester it says battery's bad, and I don't trust them at all.
Yeah.
You got to use a little bit of intellect beyond that.
Right. But I like the fact that they eliminated the other alarm system. Let's get the thing stock.
I had this conversation with Joel just yesterday. He said when back in New York, everybody wanted an alarm system. So he installed 20 of these things a week. And he took 5 out of the car every week too, because when you start to have intermittent no start issues, the first thing you do is just eliminate that alarm to get that thing out of the system, because it's could be the issue. It may not be. She may have something else going on, but get it out of there.
And as far as the shop that you're working with, continue to work with them. Take good notes. What exactly happens and when it does, and any of that information that you think may not mean something could very well be very meaningful to the shop that's working on the car. And I would tell them, here's the car. You can have it for 5 days, and just figure it out. We need it fixed.
For sure. Real quickly, we're going to go with Lewis in North Phoenix on a 2004 Acura TL. How can we help you, Lewis?
Hi, it's Lois. But anyway, I have an Acura which had a problem with the right front of the car, by the right front wheel. It was shaking when I would start it. and I took it down to the station I go to, and they looked at it and said my motor mounts were gone, I think the bushings, and my front struts.
Okay.
And the price to fix it was about $2,200. And I was wondering if that was a normal thing. I trust this station. I think they do good work. But I just wanted to get a second opinion.
Sure. Well, Dave's pointing at himself. He wants to talk to you about something, and then we'll go through this. Yeah.
I would agree if I didn't know any better or have any point of reference. Man, that would seem like a lot of money, $2,200. But what I do know is on an Acura, there's a total of 5 engine mounts. Some are $100, some are $20, some are $300.
And then the labor.
And then the labor, and there's easily $600 in labor to do them. So it's not uncommon to have a $1,200, $1,400 bill just for the mounts, and then we have strut mounts in there as well. And they made
struts, I wasn't sure, but yeah.
Maybe some control arm bushings in there. So it doesn't sound out of line, and you do know them and trust them. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, and again, ask him, is there anything else I should be doing with this repair? The other piece of recommendation I would have on the motor mounts, you want to make sure they're using Acura brand engine mounts. Doesn't mean you need to go to Acura. They can get them for you, and they can do the job.
So when we come back, 602-277-5827, 602-277, KTAR. You're listening to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com.
Summer's winding down, Dave. It's back to school.
Yep. Check out my new Scooby-Doo lunchbox, Matt. Cool, huh?
Yeah, nice, Shaggy. And did you write your What My Car Did for Summer essay?
What? Is that due?
Join us Saturdays, 11 to noon, for Bumper to Bumper Radio on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
And for the best car repair and body shops you can trust, it's bumpertobumperradio.com. Drive in anxious, cruise out feeling fine with Bumper to Bumper Radio. World class and in your own backyard. If you live or work in downtown Phoenix, Matt Allen's Virginia Auto Service is just around the corner at 7th Street in Virginia. And for over 19 years, they've been recognized as one of the best auto repair shops in the country. Voted Best Auto Repair by AZ Central, A+ rated by the BBB, 2-year 24,000-mile warranty, and complimentary transportation to and from your home or office. Virginia Auto. They're serious about service. See for yourself. VirginiaAutoservice.com.
Hi, I'm Scott, General Manager with Whitey's Auto Repair here in South Scottsdale. We built a reputation for quality auto service and repair for over 45 years, and our customers have come to trust us for our recommendations. We value that trust, and that's why when it comes to transmissions, for the past several decades, we have been recommending Tri-City Transmission. They have yet to disappoint. I feel so strongly about it, I wouldn't go anywhere else. Why would you? Google them online today at tricitytransmission.com. Go where the pros go. Tri-City Transmission.
Hi, Lisa Henry with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty. Have you been thinking maybe the time is right to move, but you're not sure if you have enough equity in your home or if it really is a good time? Well, home values have increased significantly over the past few years, and interest rates are still historically low. For how long? No one knows. But for every 1% increase in the interest rate, the result is about a 10% loss in purchasing power. So it might be a really great time to sell your home and either upsize or downsize to a new home while the interest rates are still low. Contact me via my website at lisareneehenry.com or direct at 480-330-9530 for a no-obligation market valuation on your home and to hear about our global online marketing plan designed to sell your home quickly for top dollar. Again, that's lisareneehenry.com, 480-330-9530. Come experience the difference a truly customer-focused real estate agent can make.
There's nothing more important than family. Hi, Kurt Rock for Kurt's Auto Repair. Family owned and operated and bumper-to-bumper radio preferred. We've been taking care of Valley families and their auto care needs with a perfect Better Business record for over 27 years. Come experience the difference our ASE Master Techs can make for you and your family at Kurt's Auto Repair. Just east of I-17 at 22nd Avenue and Bell Road, or online at mycarhurts.com. Gas or diesel, foreign or domestic. If your car hurts, take it to Kurt's.
My pappy said, son, you're gonna drive me to drinking if you don't stop driving that hot rod Lincoln.
Bumper to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Well, welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Dave Riccio here along with Matt Allen, and we are helping you fix your cars at 602-277-5827, 602-277-KTAR. We've got William, Scott, and Carl, and we've got texting. You can text us at 411-923. And I've got another text. It seems to be Acura TL Day. I have a 2005 Acura TL. About once a week, the car will not turn over. No clicking when I turn the key. Battery is new, approximately 2 months old. All lights work and the radio works. I think that might be a case of the old starter. You know, the starter that's hanging up and going bad, and, you know, you can sit there and crank it over, try it a few times, and it'll finally go. You know, in the old days, we used to rap on it with the side of a hammer on the side of the road to free it up and get it going. That's, like you said, that was the old tow truck thing.
Yeah, that's the old tow truck driver tip. If I can't get this car started, I got to tow it. So I want to get it started. But, you know, and all you have to do if you have that happening and you're mechanically inclined, and you can get to the starter and understand where the starter is, while someone is holding that key and it's doing nothing, don't beat the daylights out of it. Just give it
give it the old Fonzarelli. You know, he used to hit the jukebox. He'd go boom, and it would start playing his favorite song. Yeah, that's what you need to do to the starter.
Yeah, give it one of those and it'll go.
So we've got another text here. My 2010 Sentra alternates in pulling between left and right. I got new tires and alignment and still pulls. What else could it be? And when I saw that, I think we did this as a fact or fiction not too long ago, was that, hey, you know, I've got my car is pulling. Is bad motor mounts? Could that be causing my car to pull?
If it's pulling under acceleration, I might start looking at an engine mount.
And the reason that would change is when everything shifts with the mounts being bad. Well, it changes the alignment angles, and it'll pull this way or pull that way.
Yeah, but with it being intermittent left and right, yeah, it could be a mount issue. I've heard the term cumulative repair or cumulative wear. You have a little bit of a tie rod in, you've got a little bit of a ball joint, the strut mounts are no good, it's 120, it's a little bit of everything, makes a lot. So I think what you need in that case is just a full inspection of the front end. Go in, describe exactly what's happening in the shop, and check out the front end, the steering, the suspension, the mounting points, the bushings, and they'll find it.
And I'm not so sure what part of town you're in, but if you need a good shop, bumpertobumperradio.com. We're going to go with Scott in Mesa. Looks like he's got a 2003 Ford Excursion. How can we help you, Scott?
Oh, hey, thanks for taking my call. 2003 Ford V10 gas hog. So I'm driving down the road and it just sporadically will shut off, and I can immediately start it back up. Like if it dies on the freeway, I'll put it in neutral, start up, and on my way I go again. But it's just really sporadic. And I've changed the cam sensor, and I've cleaned the mass flow sensor.
Well, why is it that you changed those? Was there some approach to doing it, or is that a guess? Was there a code or something, or what was?
There's no code, no check engine light. Just a couple people said, well, change this sensor and change that one, but it didn't work.
How often does it do it?
Sometimes I'll be good for a week and a half, then I'll do it a couple times that week, and then it'll, it's just very sporadic.
Well, that is what you would call a technician's nightmare.
Yeah.
because there's several things that have to happen. First, we have to make it happen while we're driving the car. We'd like to experience, and then in the best case scenario, the thing dies and just won't restart. That would be the best thing to happen. The next best thing is at some point we've got to get this thing to act up with some test equipment hooked to the car, and hopefully it doesn't start long enough to get a peek into something. We might have to use a lab scope. There's all kinds of different tests and just some basic stuff that needs to be done to make sure that fundamentally the car is okay to proceed forward with testing. And then from there, geez, I don't know. I mean, drop the car off, part with it for a few days, and probably a few $100.
Well, he said, I threw this on it, I threw that on it because someone told me this might be the problem. And one of the things we're going to do with a car, it pulls in, we're going to go to the things that we know to be common. We're going to look for spark. We got no spark, and we've got no injector pulse. Well, on a Toyota, that might be an igniter. So we're going to the igniter. We may put an igniter on and see if that fixes it. We may not even call you. Maybe just do that. And if that doesn't fix it, well, now it's maybe a crank sensor. So we'll throw a crank sensor in it because we have a test crank sensor around. Well, that didn't fix it. Well, we've done the easy stuff, but now we really, there's a whole lot more digging that's got to happen. So sometimes you take your car and it seems like they figured it out pretty quickly and it wasn't a big deal. And then other times you're like, gosh, do these guys not know what they're doing down there? No, you just don't have a pattern failure. You got one of those that's gonna take a little longer.
Well, and you hear this too. You might hear a customer or even a caller says, they just couldn't fix my car, and really what it was is they couldn't fix it because you wouldn't leave it with them long enough to figure out what the problem is. And the intermittent problem, boy, I tell you,
right? That's tough, and I would agree with. There's a confidence level for you as a consumer when you're at the shop, but if you know them, they were established, they've been around for a long time. Give them that opportunity. It may not just be an easy one. So don't call them every 5 minutes. You got to figure it out yet. Got to figure it out yet. Because you know what? They may need to think about it. They may need to go do some research. They may let the car cool down and try it again cold. See if that makes it happen. Give them some time. And if they've been around a long time, and you don't need to worry about it.
And
don't sweat it.
And if you let that shop have the time and have the space, they can work that in between other jobs that need to get done, and sometimes save you the money. But if you are going to be the kind of guy that's going to be calling every so often, looking at your car, and we've got to work on your car, that's time, and that time is dollars. So it will be helpful to just leave it.
We're going to go with Carl in Glendale. Looks like he's got a 2009 Ford Flex. How can we help you today, Carl?
Yeah, so on my car, I've got a torque strut mount on the engine, and I'm tearing it about every 3 months, having to replace it. Trying to figure out what else could be causing that.
You got to stop driving the car so hard. You just really just got to back off.
Oh, no, I drive it super soft because the engine will rock back and forth like the transmission's going bad, and it makes a thud if I don't drive it nice.
Well, Carl, what I would be looking at, number one, I want to know if you're replacing it with a factory mount. Motor mounts are one thing where you don't want to go aftermarket. Most any other case, aftermarket parts of a good quality are just fine, and they're the same part. But engine mounts, you can't get good ones aftermarket. I don't care what they are. So you got to have a Ford mount. And if that one keeps getting torn up, maybe somebody's missing something. Maybe another mount is bad that's causing that one to tear.
That's always my point. I hate replacing. If that torque mount is bad, well, it may be bad because something else is bad. Why is it being overstressed? Why are you putting more load on that particular mount? So that's where I get in the disagreement sometimes about just doing mounts a la carte. If we fix the front one underneath the radiator, well, that means because it's broken, well, that means the one back on the firewall opposite of it has been just abused for the last 3 months or whatever. So I'm going to say replace them as a pair. Ideally, it's like buying a set of tires. You wouldn't buy one tire at a time, would you? Some people do, but maybe it's just not that common.
Right.
So you at least buy 2 at a time, and ideally, if you can buy all the mounts at a time, that's great. All 4, that's all at once. They're all going to last. It's either that or you just do them one at a time for the next 24 months. So thanks for the call, Carl. We're going to go with William in Surprise on a 2007 Dodge Ram 1500. How can we help you, William?
Yes, my truck, while I'm driving, if I start going up a small grade or whatnot, even sometimes on flat ground, the transmission keeps shifting up and down. It'll shift all the way up into passing gear and then shift back down. The level of transmission, the fluids is fine. I don't know if there's a sensor that's bad or what's going on.
How's your engine running, William?
Oh, the engine runs fine, nice and smooth.
Like a scolded dog? I mean, you punch it and it'll get after it, or is it kind of?
Oh yeah, I mean it'll spin them tires.
Well, that's the first thing I think of when engines are running weak and someone gets up to a grade. Well, the engine needs more power and it's not quite doing it, so it'll downshift to try and get it up the hill. Well, if it's got to downshift all the way to passing gear, well, maybe the engine's lacking some power. So that's the first thing that would be coming to my mind. The second thing that might be coming to my mind would be throttle position sensor, possibly. The transmission is told how and when to shift. So it's going to use the two major inputs are going to be the throttle position sensor, and then the other one is going to be the vehicle speed sensor. So it's going to compare those two to decide which gear you should be in. And if we have a bad reading from the throttle position sensor, well, then it's going to say, hey, we need to be in this other gear that we don't need to be into. Because if you drive through the parking lot, your transmission will shift 1, 2, 3 times. You don't even really feel it or even know it. It's because your foot is barely on the throttle. But when you're getting on the on-ramp and you step on it hard, well, it's going to rev that thing all the way up to 6,000 RPMs before it goes to the next gear. That all happens from the throttle position sensor. So thanks for the call. 602-277-5827. That gets us to our Facebook post of the week. You guys may not know it because we're lacking friends on Facebook, but we do have a Facebook page, and every now and then we have a listener send us a post. And this one is Weird Auto Repair Gone Wrong. This guy, I have his name, Gary Gardner, just went down for a simple little windshield replacement because he's been driving on those rocky roads.
I bet they came out and replaced his windshield for him even. That's
probably,
a heck of a service.
They probably did, and, it all went pretty good, I think, or at least he thought, until the first time. It was weird. Every time he would turn on the windshield washer, it didn't spray on the window, but he got this white smoke out of his tailpipe.
Well, no, he didn't even have to squirt the windshield washer. He just noticed, well, I guess I got a nice new windshield. I had to put some new blades on there, and I'll fill up my windshield washer bottle. Well, he fills up his windshield washer bottle, and lo and behold, the car starts to smoke and run poorly. And when the windshield washer bottle is empty, wow, it runs great. You're thinking, no way the windshield could have anything to do with that, right?
Well, it sounds like the windshield guy turned his car into a crop duster.
Well, yeah, so I think what happened here, and he sent us a picture, which is on our Facebook page. It's very interesting to see. What happened there, the windshield washer lines are black tubing, black plastic lines, and there's also a lot of vacuum lines from the engine that run in some of the similar areas that maybe go inside the dash to help control AC vents and such. And during the process of pulling the windshield out, they probably have to remove the windshield wiper arms and the cowling. And it sounds like they got a couple of those vacuum hoses and windshield washer squirter hoses.
Do I cut the red one or the blue one? Red one or blue one?
Yeah, right. Got them mixed up. So what was happening when the engine was running, it was just it's sucking all the water right out of the windshield washer.
Like a turkey baster.
But it ruined it. They tapped into the same line near the brake booster. So not only was it ingesting some of that water or windshield washer solvent into the brake booster or into the engine, but it was going to the brake booster, and it ruined his brakes because of that. So you talk about two things that may not even be related, but look, they're drawn together now. So crazy stuff.
Weird Auto Repair. If you happen to be the mechanic past that, and the guy didn't tell you got a new windshield, you probably wouldn't have looked there. That would be a weird one.
I'll tell you one thing. Back in the 70s, 80s, a lot of people used water to decarbon the engine. I bet the inside of that motor looks
spotless.
It's spotless. Maybe they saved you a couple $100 actually.
Well, with the V8, maybe it's only clean on one half of the engine because they went to that side of the vacuum. 602-277-5827. Go to bumpertobumperradio.com. You can find a list of great shops there. If you already got a great shop, you don't need another one. Stick with them. But if you're kind of like on the fence about finding a new shop, great place to find it. Also, our Facebook, bottom left-hand part of the screen, Facebook link. Go on there. Tell us about your weird auto repair story. Somebody selling you a gonculator pump or twin chrome commuter valve or dual overhead mouse traps, anything like that. When we come back, we're finishing up with these phone calls. You're listening to Matt and Dave on Bumper to Bumper Radio.
Are you looking for a refreshing change in customer service? I'm Lee Weatherby from Acura Automotive. How about a refreshing change in your car repair relationship with honest, clear, and responsive service that looks out for your needs and not ours? For over 20 years, we've been delivering award-winning service provided by ASE-certified technicians with one goal, looking out for your best interest. If it needs fixing, we'll tell you. If it doesn't, you'll know that too. I guarantee that you will not get that business-as-usual treatment at Acura Automotive. Foreign and domestic, cars, trucks, and even fleet service, Acura can handle your job. I invite you to come in and experience a refreshing difference in car repair repair and maintenance. Stop by for a free courtesy inspection, a $49 value. We feel it is well worth our investment in you because we know that good long-term relationships start early with your first walk through our doors. I'm Lee Weatherby, and I'll be there to greet you. Accurate Automotive, home of friends serving friends, just off Broadway and Robeson in Mesa since 1992. For more information, check us out at AccurateAutomotiveAZ.com today.
Hi, this is Jerry Colangelo, inviting you to be my guest at the legendary Biltmore Golf Club for our third annual Bunker to Bunker tournament benefiting Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Join us Saturday, September 27th for a fun day of golf, lunch, and prizes, all for just $85. And that includes a free coupon for a second round of golf. Make it a stay and play at the Arizona Biltmore Resort with special room rates starting at just $109.
Space is limited, so register today at azbiltmoregc.com. That's azbiltmoregc.com.
Hi, this is Greg LaFonsi of Automotive Diagnostic Specialties. Long name, right? But we have a short, simple goal. Customer satisfaction is our number one priority, and everything else takes care of itself. Bumper to Bumper Radio approved. ADS is a family-owned and operated state-of-the-art repair facility that has an expert staff that for the second straight year has earned the coveted AAA Top Shop Award as one of the best shops in the nation. Just east of I-10 on Chandler Boulevard. Find us at automotiveddiagnosticspecialties.com.
You're listening to Bumper on News Talk 92.3 KTAR.
Welcome back to Bumper Radio. I am Matt Allen. He is Dave Riccio, and we are talking about cars and helping you every single Saturday at 11. So Bumper Radio, for those that you don't know, is a show about whatever you want it to be about any weekend. Dave and I are going to come out and talk about something in the industry. Maybe we're going to get on our soapbox one day and go on a rant, or maybe there's some important news you need to know about. But what also makes up Bumper Radio is the group of shops that support the program and support the show. And these shops are good people that are in your community and in our community. People you're going to run into at the grocery store, at the soccer game, the Little League game. And as a group, we came together last week and scratched up $10,000, over $10,000 rather quickly from all the shop owners to contribute to the PCH, Phoenix Children's Hospital Radiothon, which happens this week on this station on KTAR, and I believe it's on 98.7 too, maybe? I don't know, but it's on KTAR, and it's Wednesday afternoon, all day Thursday, to raise money for Phoenix Children's Hospital. And we did a nice job. It's something we've done the last 3 years now, and it's all done by the shop owners.
The people who really support the show and really guys that support the community. And that's the kind of shops you're going to find at Bumper to Bumper Radio. So expect you to call Thursday. I'll be answering the phone. And you can ask me car questions, but at the same time, we'll be raising money for Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Yes. Great cause. Unfortunately, I was joking. I said, wow, I've never fortunately had the opportunity to use the Phoenix Children's Hospital. That all changed just a couple days after that, the deal we did when my son got hit by a bike the other day. So everything worked out all right, but that is a resource for the children of this community and the families. It's a great place, so support it if you can.
For sure. Well, we've got a couple texts here I'm going to address rather quickly, and one is a gentleman who's got a Honda product, and he's saying that the book says to change the timing belt at 60,000 miles for severe conditions, and there's a little asterisk next to that because I've read it in the book, and then down below the asterisk says for sustained temperatures above 110 degrees.
Something consistently driven in conditions above 110 degrees, and that's the 60,000 mile interval for the timing belt
on a Honda.
Or the regular interval is 105,000. Sometimes we argue in my shop about this, and I'm a staunch believer. Don't be selling or doing a timing belt on a Honda at 60,000 miles. We don't do them. You don't need them.
It's experience. And my experience says I have never seen a Honda with a broken timing belt with less than 140,000 miles on it. So I would insist, do it at 105 because we don't want to push it, because if it doesn't work out and we roll the dice, it's going to be really bad. It's 60,000 miles. It's too young. I would say do it at 105, but when you do it all. Do the water pump. Do the tensioners, idlers.
Yeah, don't skimp.
Don't skimp. Do it all, because you had this car in your shop just this last week where the timing belt was replaced, but they skimped, and therefore, pulley went bad and wrecked the heads and everything like that. So it's totally negated the purpose of doing the timing belt in the first place.
Yes, but don't do it at 60. Save your money and do it all all later.
We're going to go with Hector in Queen Creek on a 2000 Honda CR-V. How can we help you, Hector?
Yes, sir. I was calling because my wife has a 2000 Honda CR-V. The right side window just stopped rolling. It didn't slow down. It didn't just make any noises. It just stopped working. And I wanted to tear it apart, but before I did that, I wanted to make sure there was nothing else I could try to do before my first attempt at fixing the window.
I always like the dome light test. The dome light test to me is at night you've got the dome lights on and you hit the window button and you should see the light just dim a little bit. That tells me, hey, we're actuating that motor. We're putting a draw on the battery. That's one of those simple little things that an experienced technician, he's really taking in all kinds of information. He's under the hood, but at the same time, he's smelling what's going on with the car. Man, this thing smells lean or it smells rich. That's experience, but that's one of the things we're going to do to save us time to, we don't need to check out that master switch. We know the window is getting power to it, but the motor's not working. It's time to go change the motor.
Well, and another thing you can do is on that, open up that door panel, and if there's a good place to have some flat access and middle towards the bottom of the door, and just give it a good smack. Open hand, good with the butt of your hand maybe. And,
you're hitting everything today.
Well, at least I'm not hitting my dog like you.
No, if you punch the gas, not scolded dog, punch the gas, not the dog.
So, but if you could, it's much like the starter. If you can hold that switch and just give it a good hit, you might just startle the thing, and if it starts working, great. Now you know that the window motor needs to be replaced.
So either you got to smack your door for the next 5 years every time you want to roll the window down, or you can fix it.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that to test. If just much like the starter, if the car starts after you give it a little rap with the hammer or an extension, well, you've got a bad starter. So it's just a little tip that we can use.
Thanks for the call, Hector. We're going to go with George, and he's got a 1987 Ford F-150. How can we help you, George?
Looking from a parent allowing her to go with
Well, it doesn't sound like George is there. George, you there?
And last I knew, like he had enough trouble.
Okay, George didn't sound like it was there.
Let's go do one of these texts here. My clutch pedal does not work until I warm up the engine. The fluid level is fine. It has a new clutch installed a month ago. Now, clutches fail, for everybody to know, they fail in one of two ways. They either fail to engage or they fail to disengage. So if we're talking about a disengagement problem, so if you push the clutch in and it doesn't disconnect the engine from the transmission, that's a disengagement issue where we're looking at the fluid, the hydraulic fluid. There's a clutch master cylinder like there's a brake master cylinder, and then there's a clutch slave cylinder much like there would be a brake wheel cylinder.
Right.
Same purposes going on there. So I don't know that I've seen heat really play an effect on those hydraulics.
If there might be some air in there, or if the toe play is not properly set, it could be the point where the pedal's down on the floor, and as the engine does warm up, anything you build a little bit of heat in, you're going to get some expansion, and that fluid may expand a little bit, just enough to make the pedal overcome the center point and pop back up. I guess, if the clutch was replaced just a couple months ago, I would be going back to the shop. That's where you should go. Go back and have a conversation. Tell them what's happening. Drop off the car, and they ought to fix it.
I'm reading just a little bit further down. The beginning of that text says, I've got a 2000 Honda Civic with 451,488 miles on it. Man, that thing is just barely broken in.
Well, and some of the other things that can cause clutch problems, I didn't notice that part with 500,000 miles on it almost, but where the clutch master cylinder is, or if on a car that has a clutch cable, for example, we see those break at the firewall. There's the cable isn't held stationary, so as you're stepping on the pedal, the whole thing is moving and not allowing the pressure to go down to the pedal. That's something to look at as well.
Remember bumpertobumperradio.com for great automotive shops and body shops, and be sure to support KTAR and Phoenix Children's Hospital this week. We'll see you next week.
Do you love your hybrid? Yep, we did too. Hi, my name is Brian. We bought our Prius to help with my wife's long commute back and forth to work. We love the get up and go and the fuel economy. But 8 years later, our MPG was eroding and the zip was gone. We tried everything from tune-ups to new tires. The dealership's answer was that's just the way it goes with hybrids, and that we were probably looking at a new battery at the cost of $4,000 to $6,000. Sound familiar? We were lost. Then we found the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair. They were able to condition our battery to like new for a fraction of the cost. The Zip and the 40 Plus MPG is back. We're in love again with our Prius and the hybrid shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair.
Thanks for the kind words, Brian. Hi, Glenn Hayward for the Hybrid Shop at GoodWorks Auto Repair. Fall in love again with your hybrid. For details, go to goodworksautorepair.com.
The lazy days of summer are coming to an end, and the crazy days of back to school, daycare, and kids' sports are upon us. Hi, I'm Matt Allen, owner of Virginia Auto Service. Don't let servicing your car add to the chaos of your busy schedule. Live or work in Central Phoenix? Virginia Auto Service is right next door at 7th Street in Virginia. We'll pick you up and drop you off at your home or office. And for over 19 years, we've been Central Phoenix's trusted solution for auto repair and maintenance. Check us out at virginiaautoservice.com.
Hi, Dave Riccio, owner of Tri-City Transmission and co-host of your Bumper to Bumper radio show. Did you know that 1 out of every 4 transmissions is replaced in air? Transmissions are the most complicated part of your vehicle and misunderstood by so many. At Tri-City Transmission, we diagnose over 200 transmissions every month. We know transmissions. Don't be a victim of transmission malpractice. Protect yourself with knowledge. Download our free tip sheet, Top 10 Reasons Transmissions Are Replaced in Air, at TriCityTransmission.com. That's